Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Relapse Tackle. In this video I'm going to show how you can paint jig heads faster using Stardust. So in this video we're going to be using a jig clamp. This one I got from TJ's Tackle. You can make your own. There's several videos out there how to do that. The jigs that I'm going to be painting are Roundhead with the welded bait keeper. I poured these in another video. I can leave the link in the description for that. Some 3/32 shrink tubing. So we cut that to length using just the scissors. I just cut a little section off so that it's enough to cover the hook eye. And you want to make sure that there's a small gap left between the jig head and that shrink tubing. So on some leather gloves or some oven mitts. And then I got green pumpkin green Stardust. I put it in this drywall mud tray. So this is 1 pound of the mud, or 1 pound of the Stardust. Kind of looks like some, not really mud. The green pumpkin brown would look pretty muddy, but I like this color. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of jigs all at once. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and give it a like. Thank you. All right, so this is what we're going after right here. This is what we'll be painting. The green pumpkin green. So that one I just did a little bit ago, and then the oven cooled down because I shut it off. Now we're starting over again. So it's getting up to temp. I'm preheating it to 450 degrees. You want to put your shrink tubing in, like I said, so that there's a small gap, and then don't push the jig heads down so that the point goes into that gasket material. It's a high temp silicone gasket in there. Then the hook point, if you push it down too far, when you pull it out, it's going to tear that gasket, and then your clamps won't last as long. You'll have to put new gasket material in them. So we're going to go through and just do this to all of them. I'm not even sure how many I have on the bench here. I just dumped some of them out of a bag. We're just gonna do what's on the bench here. You could fill up the whole oven. You can also preheat these jigs on a griddle. Just don't let them touch each other during this process. This process works for multiple coats. But if you have jigs that are painted with Stardust and you want to add 3D eyes to them, you can simply just heat it up with a heat gun or a small torch carefully, and then take your 3D eyes, or even 3D one, the flat eyes, whatever you're at, whatever you want. Sorry, I'm running out of words apparently today. Been a long weekend already. So it looks like I'm gonna have to cut one more piece of shrink tubing for this last hook. Careful not to snip your finger. And you will want to use jig heads that are already cleaned up. Right, so that's that. They're all in there. The oven's still getting up to temp. But we're just going to put them in there so we can start heating them up. They don't have to be at 450 degrees. It's just, I like to, there it goes, get them as hot as I can. So as you can see, the shrink tubing isn't shrunk down at all yet. And they start shrinking down almost immediately in the oven. So I'm not sure how well the light's going to work with the oven. Might have to shut it off. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh. Kind of trying to get used to this camera system and everything. I'm just using my cell phone, but trying to get the angles right and everything for everybody to see what's going on is kind of difficult in this small of a room. So this drywall mud tray works pretty well though for this process, because the jig clamps are the right size, and I think they're the 12-inch jig clamps. Just don't even remember. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera. So yeah, they're the 12-inch jig clamps. And I could go with bigger ones for this oven, but I haven't made any yet. So you're going to want to get the lead nice and warm. Leave them in there for 2-3 minutes. You can see the shrink tubing is shrunk down on the hook eyes pretty well there. So unlike other powder paints, this isn't going to take 25 to 30 minutes for this paint to cure. So just heating these up all in one shot like this for a couple minutes, and then a couple more minutes to finish them up, it's quite a bit faster, and the durability of this stuff is just insane. Stardust is an incredible product. I love using this stuff. If you're using an oven too, you're going to want to use a thermometer that hangs in there, whether it's old school one or a digital thermometer. So you want to put one of these in there just to check to make sure how accurate it is from time to time. This one is like spot on, but a lot of ovens are way off. And then like with this product, it doesn't really matter too much because I keep an eye on it, and then I just go by how it looks, and then I know when it's finished. So I'm going to back the camera back up again. And it's kind of hard to do, kind of hard to show everybody what's going on with the this process. So I'm trying to get my angles correct. So my oven just slammed itself shut. So this tray is pretty warm. Jig clamp's actually not super warm, so it could sit in there a little bit longer. Then you just want to dip them in there. So they'll look kind of textured. Set my powder paint back down, and then I'm going to heat it up for a little bit. I also use a tray inside the oven so that it doesn't have a direct heat. Like if the paint were to drip off of them at all, it's not going to land on the element, and that's for all the different powder paints that I use. I've never had Stardust drip at all, and that's because it doesn't need to sit in there for 25 minutes. I just watch it and wait until all of it is smoothed out and it turns nice and shiny, and then they're ready. So I'm not going to cut any of this video out so you can see real time how long stuff takes to do this process. I don't edit out my videos. I try not to do that because I want people to see how long this process actually takes and other processes. So now they're starting to get kind of shiny. So at this point, you could take your clamp back out of there quickly, close the door up. They're still not quite done yet. Just make sure that they don't need a second dip or anything. And then I'll grab them by the hook shank and carefully. Guess you guys can't see that. So I'm going to pull these out one at a time really quick. Careful not to drop them. And I'm going to pull that heat shrink tubing off of there just to get it out of the way. Oop. Still good. Don't have to worry about it because it's Stardust. I'm going to keep bumping the camera because it's so darn close. Sorry about that. I'm trying to do this quickly because this is about speed. And like I said, wear gloves so that you don't have to worry about hurting yourself, touching something that's too hot. So I got the oven closed back up though, so that it can keep that heat in there. If you don't use shrink tubing, you can go back and just, once they're done, just take a hot wire and stick it through the hook eye, and that'll clean it up. And this Stardust doesn't get a real sharp edge on it like other powder paints, so it'll stay smooth after you poke through it. So now I'm going to set these back in here to finish. You could carefully just, and it'd be a lot faster, take the whole clamp just like that after pulling the shrink tubing off. You could just carefully hit them with a torch, just going past really fast with a torch across them, and then that would also be enough to finish them up. I am just showing with the oven because you could have several racks in there all at once and get a lot more through. I see I missed one piece of shrink tubing. I did not get off all the way. So I'm just going to grab that quick and close it back up. So this whole video should be under 20 minutes from start to finish. So you can see how much faster this is, because with other products you have to wait 25 minutes for them to cure. So, and this was start to finish whole process. So it looks like they just need to be in there for just a little bit longer. And then we'll pull them out and let you see them. And if you were doing a second coat, just leave the heat shrink tubing on there, get the paint warm, and then dip them into your second coat, and then put them back in there. Just kind of heat them up just a little bit, remove the heat shrink tubing, and then heat them again, and then that'll be finished. I let them cool down slowly. Some people chill them with water. So we're at almost 16 minutes now for the whole process. Uncut. All right. Pull those out, set them on the table over here so they cool down. Alright. And then I'll turn the light back on again. On this cord. So there's a little bit on the hook shank. I'm not really worried about it. But if you wanted a faster process, that would be quite a bit faster because you can have several racks inside the oven all at the same time, heating them up. Or you can, like I said, put these racks on a griddle and have all of the heat rising up, preheating all of them, and then dip them into this tray, and then go ahead and throw them in the oven. And you could wait until it's all the way finished and then remove the heat shrink tubing. I'd rather do it so that I can make sure that the tops of these, where the hook eye is, all looks good. Because if there's a little bit of a spot that's not as heavy, you can go back and just, when they're warm, just sprinkle a little bit on them and then heat them up some more. So there it is again, green pumpkin green, great bass color. Thanks for watching.